I'm telling him, "Whoa, dude, it feels trippy," and his reaction was, "Okay," which is suspicion. Well, it's suspicious to me. Like I wouldn't react like this if somebody would tell me it feels trippy. And then I'm like looking at him and I'm saying, "I'm tripping," and he's like, "I don't know, maybe." And I'm like, "On what?" And then, or did he maybe asked me on what? And then I'm like, "Acid. It has to be acid." And he's like, "Okay." And then I'm like, "She dosed me." Okay? And
How did she do it?
what actually happened is that for a couple of months before my birthday.
Again, never ever dose someone without their
Yes.
knowing. Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know about this. And the other guys, except just one guy, was like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, let's do it." And then I was kind of reluctant, but Johnny told me, "Hey, it's your birthday, you have to," and and it sort of made sense.
It's a perfect logic.
Yeah, it worked on me.
Welcome to Triptease, the psychedelic confession chamber. This is a podcast dedicated to trip reports, stories, and discussions about mind-expanding experiences.
All right. So, yeah, it's good. Sound is good. I hope the lighting is good. The lighting is good.
Seems good to me.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, looks good. All right. The vibe is definitely good.
Alrighty.
We're chilling out here in my studio that's soon to be gone. But yeah, we still have a
Wait, so
few
this is the
more,
last episode in the studio?
It's the last to be recorded. I don't think it's gonna be the last to be released. I think we
Recorded
have
is what
other
counts.
ones. Yeah, yeah.
Recorded.
It should have been. Yeah, it's a long story. Maybe we'll get into it in a future episode. But the good news is I'm going to Thailand, and then I'm maybe going to other places, and I'm gonna keep on doing the
Yeah.
podcast from these very beautiful exotic places.
Yeah.
But today we're still here. I'm still in Israel, and I'm accompanied by a friend that I first met actually doing this podcast back at the day when we did the audio Hebrew version. So for all you Hebrew speakers, you can find on Spotify Bobo's story. That
Yeah.
was his episode, which was fucking crazy.
Yeah, that was good.
And hopefully maybe soon enough we're gonna make some visuals to it and add subtitles so English speakers would. I'm gonna get to it, to this project
Wow,
of bringing
awesome.
back all the episodes. But at the moment I'm very busy with the new episodes.
Yeah.
But because I loved so much recording the podcast back at the day with Bobo, Baruch, yeah?
Wow, yeah.
And because he has a whole bunch of other crazy stories. Then we became pretty good friends with the time that passed, and so I was very excited to have him here just before I leave the country for one last crazy Israeli
Triptease
psychonauts
connecting
striptease.
people.
Yes, yeah, for sure. Yeah. I met some awesome people. It's great. If you guys want to meet very cool, creative, fun people, start a podcast. Yeah. But make it a good one, yeah?
Psychedelic adds some awesome people too.
For sure. This is definitely a field of interest where a lot of very interesting, creative people. And so, yeah, maybe I'm talked enough about what I'm doing and blah, blah, blah. And now let's get to know you a bit more, at least our audience that still doesn't know you.
Sure. So my name is Baruch, which in English means blessed. And if you take the word blessed and you take some of the less important letters off it, it leaves you with B, LSD.
Yes.
which is the most important psychedelic, at least in my life. I figured it out like with some friends that told me about it a couple of years ago. It made me fall in love with my name. Yeah.
Yeah,
I even
nice.
like made a tag, and like I brought you my beer with my logo on it for the episode. It's
That's
worth it.
yeah. Maybe hold it next to your face so we can focus on it from this
Oh,
camera.
wow. Sure. Yeah. Actually, the beer, it took me only like 3 weeks to make it. It's my first one, but the logo took a couple of months.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
So
it
you
was
want to
all-
explain it? Hold it like next to your face, so it will be like sharply focused.
Sure. So yeah, it's like the BLSD. That's let's say that's the brewery,
Right.
and the brand is Legendary Beer.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
and,
And this is the first time I'm ever trying this legendary beer by
Yeah.
the BLSD brewery, which is owned and run solely by Baruch here. So cheers.
Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah.
Right. Mm. Yeah.
Wow, I like it. It's very nice.
It's like a Belgian
Wow.
style.
Nice, but
And-
very light. Very yeah.
in the ingredients, like the sweeter part, I think it was honey, and the like official ingredients of the style. But instead of that, we put some jam that my roommate made. So it has like
Interesting.
its
Cool, I
own
like this, a twist.
special taste. Yeah.
Yeah, let's hide the other brand. Come on. Even though it's a nice one. I like this beer a lot, the blue one. But yeah, come on. It's all about BLSD.
Yeah. So actually,
Can anyone can people actually buy it?
no.
No. It's not.
It's too rare. It's too rare. I made only
not
like
commercialized at all.
I'm willing to sell it for the right price.
All right, so it's gonna be an eBay thing or something.
Let's see.
Okay.
First, it's like I give it out to friends on very special occasions, like birthdays.
Nice.
Shooting a podcast together. It's worth it.
Yes, for sure. Nice, man, and it's really tasty. I love it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So my journey with psychedelics, I guess it started at 2015. Like I did some drugs before, like MDMA, cocaine, but it's all meaningless in comparison to the like first real psychedelic full-on trip that happened in 2015 with LSD. And it was a crazy trip. We talked about it in our first podcast together, so I don't want to go too deep into it. But now looking back after all these years, I can really say that it maybe was one of the biggest turning points in my life, if not the biggest. Okay, it's like really. There's a real clear like separation between the before and after. After like
Of the first time you did any psychedelics or LSD in
yes,
specific?
any psychedelics. Like I did, like during my journey in South America, I did try ayahuasca once, but it didn't fully open. I really think I wasn't ready for it. And then the first acid trip was just spot on, perfect. And after, I really feel like my friends changed, my perception of the world, the things I want to do, the things I'm doing. Like there was an explosion, I think, of creativity and will to build and do. And it's all, I think, thanks to LSD or the way it opened my mind.
Right, that's amazing.
Yeah, and it didn't take that long until I started doing pretty unique things with LSD, or at least I don't know people that do such things until now. And the like easiest, most I don't know, famous one or the one people like the most is the legendary Super Days. I guess you understand what is the abbreviation of Legendary Super Days?
I don't know if everyone would catch it. So
Yeah,
I guess you should explain.
yeah, but it's the first letter of every word, so it's LSD. And basically, it's days that I organize in which we take acid, and then I'm trying to build the most legendary itinerary possible for the full day.
So what do you mean the most legendary? In what sense?
So I don't mean fun, I don't mean like happy or best experience, I mean legendary. The thing that like when people hear about it, it will sound epic, it will sound
Yeah.
legendary, it will sound like not necessarily
Yeah.
something you want to do,
Yeah.
but more like
No.
skydiving on acid.
Stuff that are really most people
I-
don't do ever for sure.
I don't
not.
know, like diving on acid. It's things that like people do, but acid, I believe, makes every experience more powerful or more interesting or more
Right.
intense. So it can be a relatively regular experiences, but on acid gives it like a certain more interesting twist.
Right, but you do try to choose some unique, extreme, intense experiences. So now I think first it's the time for a disclaimer. We don't endorse any illegal drug use. We don't ask or recommend anyone to do any illegal drugs ever. But for sure, we don't recommend people that do choose to experiment with mind-expanding substances to do these extreme experiences while they're at it, unless they really know for sure it's going to be good for them. Because for me, I would never do any of that on acid.
Yeah,
And most
so-
people shouldn't. It's only if it's for the very experienced and very aware kind of psychonaut that says, okay, I can push my boundaries here.
Yes, I've heard many people I've told about Legendary Super Days 2, and like most of them really enjoy hearing about it and liking it, but would never do such a thing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you've did acid just like
Yeah.
a couple of times, or if you've done it hundreds of times.
Yeah.
It's more about like your personality and your ability to cope with acid, and
Yeah, most people that have done it, like they know, like I know that I'm super sensitive and things can get very overwhelming for me. So I know like what kind of environment could be good complementary for that. It's like doing what Baruch is doing for someone that has no experience. That's definitely nothing for you. Enjoy the story. Don't even try it. It's like professional, like high level of doing psychedelics that you really know what you're doing and you're fully in control and you are very functional on it. But for most people, usually you're not that when you're
yes,
when
and
you're
it's
tripping.
important not to
Yeah.
not to get frightened when things might get frightening. And another very important like requirement is that even when you're fully on tripping, you're able to look and act as if you don't. Okay, because in many of the Legendary Super Days, it involves different people, like whether it's a skydive instructor or a race
Yeah.
car driver next to you.
Yeah,
you
you're
don't-
dealing with like normal, sober, everyday people. Sometimes
Yes.
very professional, strict kind of
Yes, and
person.
you have to look sober and
Yeah, otherwise
act
you
sober.
otherwise you yeah, it's just not gonna work.
Yes, and you might like get in trouble too.
Yeah.
So I figured like the first story should be an example of a Legendary Super Day. It's not one of the like regular examples that I give, because I already gave some in the last episode, and I wanted like to find one that will be new for you, because
Okay,
you've heard
awesome.
some
yeah,
too.
I have, so yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know what he's gonna tell. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's-
so I'll start
exciting.
with a certain Legendary Super Day, but FYI, before I start with the stories, like when I was trying to like figure out what stories am I gonna tell in this specific podcast, so like it was like hard to choose, and I decided like instead of like thinking too much about it, just choosing a concept. Okay, and then like I picked the stories that will be according to the concept, and the concept, the like thing that is the same in all the stories, is that it's all the stories happen during my birthday.
Okay, so
Okay.
birthday tripping stories, birthday
Yeah.
triptease. That's awesome.
Concept.
It might be the birthday of the podcast. I can't fucking remember when I actually
Let's
started
assume it is.
Let's assume it is. It's a birthday triptease episode. Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first story will be about an example for a legendary Super Day, and at some point, because I also have like since I was 18, I had like this thing that I have to do something in my birthday that I've never done before. Okay,
Yeah.
and with time it started being like hard to find something that I haven't done before. So I started like trying to put because legendary super days are the funnest day in the year for me. So I started putting a legendary super day on my birthday. Okay, might as well,
Yeah.
kill two birds in one stroke. And after some time that I did this legendary super days, I started running out of legendary activities to do in Israel.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a small place. Pretty
Yeah, and
limited.
slowly it like gets harder and harder because you're also very limited in the area that you can cover when you're tripping on acid, right? So it's usually a city. You can't go that much further than that. So at some point, I just started doing those birthday legendary super days abroad. Okay, and the first city that was chosen for a legendary super day was Budapest.
Ooh. Whoa.
Yes.
Interesting choice.
You been there?
No, but I've been to
Excellent.
other Eastern Bloc
Yeah.
cities, and yeah, it could get. It's interesting.
It's interesting. And so I set up this like legendary super day in Budapest, and I came with like the legendary super gang.
Right.
And
So at that time, you had a specific gang of people you used to do with.
I have like a very, very limited small pool of like my best friends that are able to do such a day, and those that were willing and wanted to come to Budapest to do it came, and it was perfect. So like we arrived to Budapest first, like 2 days just enjoying the city like regular people, and getting ready for the legendary super day, and then first legendary super day abroad. So, first of all, there are differences between organizing a legendary super day abroad and in Israel, like where you live, because just understanding how you're getting from point to point during the day is already like a bit of a bigger challenge. Yeah, the foreign language is a bigger challenge sometimes, depends where. It's
Or
like
sometimes it could help to be tripping, and you're like, oh, all of a sudden you understand Hungarian somehow.
something like that.
Yeah.
But in general, in my eyes, it's just more things that make it legendary.
Right. More challenging.
Yeah, more challenging. So the first activity that was chosen for Legendary Super Day Budapest was this like network of caves that run underneath Budapest. Okay, it's like a cave tour, more than a 2-hour trip in the caves. It's
Wow.
it's
Yeah.
long.
Yeah. Fuck.
So we arrived to this place where they suit us up in this protective gear. I have a friend that really like didn't want to wear it, but we were told you have to. You can't go in without it. It's meant to protect you.
You were already high at this point?
No, because like I understood it's going to be a long trip in the cave, and I said it's not necessarily like we don't really have to be tripping before. So we did the acid when we were suiting up, so that the plan was that it will open up in the darkness in the cave. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're gearing up, like you get this like helmet and a flashlight, and we're getting into the caves, which is like pretty deep. I think you start by getting down there, and there is no light at all inside the caves, and And yeah, it started being trippy. Okay, even in darkness, even with not that much light, you start feeling and like seeing or sensing that you're on LSD, and it was like really really fun, intense cave. Okay, there were a lot of places you have to crawl on your belly because it's impossible.
So could be quite claustrophobic.
Super
Yeah.
claustrophobic. That was
Yeah.
the purpose of it, sort of dealing with
shit.
claustrophobia.
That makes me nightmares just thinking of that.
Yes,
I would
yes,
never do
it's
that.
it's intense,
Yeah.
and we always had to like go one after the other, and like if the guy that is leading says something, like we have to pass it on, and
Yeah.
that
So
it
there's
will.
a lot of like kind of rules and
Oh,
little
yeah.
practices you need
Oh,
to
yeah.
you have to follow.
Yeah, yeah, and usually it's not that easy to follow practices on acid, but
Yeah.
like you have to.
You have to.
Yeah.
A survival thing.
Yeah, so it was like really interesting and fun, but the best the best memory and part of it for me was when the guide that was just this like 25-year-old young girl student, I think she was, that was guiding us. She said, "Okay, you guys are like hardcore. So here we have like a section that we can crawl and walk and like, and it's gonna be like intense, but it's a section that we can try to do without light at all."
Oh shit.
Okay, we're all in pitch darkness, and we need to like make sure that we're still following each other, but we can try to do it in full darkness. And then like we realized like that we're gonna like go full darkness mode, and my friend, let's call him Yoni, he was like explaining, okay,
Yoni like Johnny, not like Yoni.
yeah,
the
never.
Yoni
Yeah, yeah. It's a
tantric
made
Yoni.
up name
just-
because I didn't
yeah.
like ask him for permission.
No,
so
it's
I'd
just
rather...
Yoni is a very Israeli name, but also
Okay,
it sounds
so
like
Johnny.
the Yoni.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay,
I
okay,
mean,
gotcha.
You know,
Johnny.
I'm sure some people of here are familiar with the tantric.
Yeah,
language,
yeah.
So
Didn't
just
think
to
about
make
that.
clear, this dude is not a vagina. He's
No.
Johnny in
Yeah.
the Hebrew version.
And but Johnny is pretty intense. Okay, and he's
Always, or he
pretty
got...
much always.
Okay, he's an intense dude. Cool.
Yes, very intense. And he said, okay, so we're gonna like crawl in like full on pitch darkness, and like on the rocks, we're deep underneath the earth, and we're gonna be like blind, where we're gonna be like worms in the mud, and I think we have to do it naked. and I'm like, what?
So
Why? I
basically-
don't get
So
why.
basically, Johnny couldn't hold it together anymore.
I don't know. I
in
don't know.
some way.
I think
He forgot that there are restrictions to this experience.
I don't think he forgot. I just don't think he cares enough.
Yeah, I mean in that way that he
Yeah,
was already.
and
yeah.
he says like the full-on way to experience it, like deeper, is getting naked, and like I was like,
Is he the guy that didn't like the protective
Yes,
wear to start
yes,
with?
he didn't
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
wearing
yeah.
it anyway,
It
so
makes
that was
sense.
a good excuse for him to to take it off. And I was like, I don't know about this. And the other guys, except just one guy, was like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's do it. And then like I was kind of reluctant, but Johnny told me, hey, it's your birthday, you have to, and it sort of made sense.
It's a perfect logic.
Yeah, it worked on me. So I'm like, okay, fuck, okay. So how are we doing this? And we
It's your
understand.
birthday, you have to. What the
Yeah,
fuck?
yeah.
But I
It
guess
works.
this is the same logic where people are like, okay, I drank too much shots. It's long. No, it's your birthday. You have to do another one. Yeah.
So we understood that like the way we go through the cave is that the guide is up front and we're like all in back. So Johnny said, okay, so if it's just us three that are naked, let's be in the back, and she
And
won't
the
even
poor
see
guy,
us.
It was also a woman, like to make it even
Yeah,
like
yeah,
better.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like how weird it would be for her to discover
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Fuck.
to be honest, Johnny was right. Doing it naked and also like the crawling and having like your like junk in jeopardy, you know, like
Oh, fuck.
getting mud
my
on
God.
you and everything. It was intense. And also like you also have to like hold all your gear, all the suits. So when you're like crawling through a very very narrow space, you need to like first push it, and then you're like without it, and then you're crawling and you need to find it. It was like
Wow,
intense.
crazy,
Yeah.
crazy.
And eventually we got to like a
God bless Johnny.
and eventually we got to this like clearing where all of us could like fit in, and then like she said, okay, we can turn on the lights. And then she sees that the three of us are naked, and she's like, she didn't like it at all.
Fuck.
She was like, what the fuck? She's
Wow,
like demanded us
poor-
to take it out, to put our
poor
clothes on
lady.
immediately, or we're stopping everything. And we're like, okay, relax, okay, we're putting it on.
Oh,
We're just
shit, I could only imagine like how weird it
yeah,
would be
yeah,
for
it
her.
was a bit, yeah.
And intimidating for sure, yeah, fuck.
Yeah, but we were good. We dressed up.
Yeah, you had no bad intentions, but
Yeah,
you didn't.
but I
you should-
understand how it feels from her
Yeah.
side.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So it was like a really, really fun trip deep in the caves. We had a lot of fun. And then we went out into the light for the first time. And it's like a really big difference when you think about it. When you're like tripping balls in a cave and all you see is what your flashlight and the other people's flashlight shows you. And all of a sudden, the light and trees and plants and sounds, yeah? It was like going into a new psychedelic world coming out of this cave.
Yeah, so you experience like a whole new dimension somehow.
Exactly.
Because on psychedelics, every little experience you have within the trip tends to be like a whole new story, a whole new chapter, a whole new
it's
reality.
a big difference between like being in darkness to being in light. Okay?
Yeah, you got out to the like light world now.
Yeah, and it's not like usually in nature parties you experience like a sunrise, and it's like a process. Yeah, it slowly starts to get brighter and brighter and brighter, and then there's light and first light, and wow. But here it was very very drastic from darkness to light. Okay, so it was more intense.
just like a quick.
Yeah, and then like what is important to understand about Legendary Super Days is that we are on a schedule. Okay, we
Right.
want to do as much legendary activities as we can, and acid is running out. Okay, so and we need to like take advantage of every piece of acid that we can do, and usually. Throughout the Legendary Super Days, we take more acid in the middle of the day in order for it to go longer, and we will be able to do more in that day.
Again, very advanced professional behavior.
You should start by doing it without Legendary Super Days, but usually you just want to make the experience longer, right? So that was the first activity. And the second activity, we had to like go into taxis, find taxis for all of us, get into the point.
How many people were you?
I think we were 6, so
Wow,
so it
okay,
had to
yeah.
be like 2 taxis. And
Right.
then every time that we go from a place to a place, so from point to point, so like it's 2 taxis, and we need to like find each other all over again when we get to the new place. You know, it's like extra like challenge, especially when like it's much harder to use a phone.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So we get to the second place, and the second place there was a little similarity to the first place, which is the darkness. The second experience that we had was going to like a sort of a center for people with handicaps and blind people. And it's an experience where first the group sits down with a blind person, and that blind person explains them about their life and how it is to live when you're blind, and answers some questions if there are any. And then the experience itself is that we go into his world, okay? We go through a series of different like chambers, which each chamber has like a different like style or a different part of your life that as a blind person you need to get used to, okay?
Yeah.
So the first chamber was a regular apartment. Okay, so all of us are getting in together in this apartment, and there's different like risks and dangers and things that like we need to figure out, like not going into a corner of a closet or something, you know, like there's knives in the kitchen, and like there's water if you want to pour yourself some water or anything. Just like learning how to manage as a blind person. So here there was already a bit more of like giggling and having fun with the scenario that's around us. The second chamber, I think it was like the street. Okay, and here there's all bunch of new dangers like cars. You hear cars passing by. You hear like dogs barking.
That
you need
sounds
to figure
horrible.
you need to
Yeah.
figure out how to cross the road.
Shit.
And it's a whole new like system of like, okay, how do I manage to survive here? I feel that the difference between doing it without acid and doing it with acid is that, at least for me, with the acid, when I was like touching objects and trying to figure out like, okay, this is like a traffic light. I understand this is a traffic light. So the acid made me really visualize it. Okay, I think without the acid, I'm just like feeling it by touch, but with the acid, I'm like, I really see it.
I want to see, it's not a clear memory, but I want to say I remember that I've seen some research that they gave psychedelics to blind people and they could kind of not see, but like like it helped them with visualizing. But I might be making this up. I can't remember. We need to Google it. Yeah, we need to look it out. Google it. Let us know in the comments.
At least on me, it worked.
Yeah.
Okay, and like.
But you're a seeing person, so it's interesting.
Exactly,
like
right.
with someone that, yeah.
Right.
But I think, too bad. I'm the producer. I can't Google while I'm doing this. But yeah.
In the comments.
Yeah.
And the third experience was like just going into a bar style of a scenario, and like trying to imagine how like okay, I'm a blind person, I'm going into a bar, how do I interact with the environment without it looking too like odd or like helpless.
Crazy.
Then the third experience was a whole different aspect, which is going to the opera. Okay.
That was still in the blind place or
No,
after?
no. I'm saying after the blind, we finished the second experience. The third one is going to the opera.
Wow.
And here we were really tight on schedule because like the opera starts at a certain point, and if you're late, you're fucked. So like we were really, really in a hurry to the opera. And there was also, it said when we bought the tickets that there is a very like strict dress code. You know, and we came from like the mud of the caves, you know, so like we had to like change our clothes as much as we could because like we did kind of plan for it. And then like right in the last second, we got into the opera building before they closed the doors. And here there was a really, really powerful psychedelic, like acidy feeling of everyone are looking at us. Okay, or at least that's how I felt, because we were so different. Like 90-something% of the crowd was, you know, in their 60s, very, very well dressed, like tuxedo/suits almost only. Okay, like everybody with like serious jewelry, and it was so obvious that we're not part of the
like you could dress up as much as you can, but you couldn't get into the part for real. Yeah.
And it was like a weird feeling, you know, that everybody are like looking at you. without the acid, I don't think you like care that much. You just
I
like
think the acid just like amplifies it in your mind, and the acid
Totally.
also can make it like it could also be a total paranoia. You don't
Yeah.
know if it's
Yeah,
true or
it
not.
wasn't paranoia because like we were a group of friends, so like there wasn't anything like scary. If I was alone, I think it would have been much more like
Yeah, but it's this specific type of paranoia. Like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
know we're different, they know we're high, they know, yeah.
Yeah, so we got into the opera itself, and like we were all sitting in this one line, and
That's so crazy.
yeah, and like the orchestra down, so there's like a lot of sound, and it's like you can feel it,
For sure,
and
yeah.
the show itself was about, or at least the beginning of it was about this like drug addict. So
okay.
we found it hilarious, the fact that like
Yeah.
we're on drugs, and the show is about drugs. And then like at a certain point we said, okay, I think we should like take more acid, right? And
Right.
then
We're having
like
so much fun. Yeah,
yeah,
right.
we can take more acid in
Why stop now?
this scenario. It's like
Ah,
quiet
that's
enough,
so
we
crazy.
can trip
That's
out harder.
So crazy. I would never in a million years do any
Yeah,
of that.
so
Yeah.
so then it started like all this debating of like how much we should do. Like how much do you want? How much do you want? Blah blah blah. And we're trying to like figure it out. And during all this like debate, everybody around us are like shh shh, and we're like, well, we're trying to figure out the acid, And eventually like all of us did like some more acid, and when it like came up, most of us decided, okay, like the opera itself was like really really long. It was like 3 or 3.5 hours,
Whoa.
and like a bunch of us started like, okay, I think I got this experience. There is another option that we can do, like instead of continuing here, and it's like kind of epic. So what do we want to do? Do we want to do it or not? And like we were trying to like figure it out, and eventually we understood that two of us want to stay and experience like the full opera, and the rest want to go. And then we decided, okay, so we're doing it. Yeah, okay, we're going. And then like it's also like, it's the middle of the opera. Everybody are quiet and listening, and then like walking out is kind of also weird.
Yeah.
But we decided, fuck it, we want to like do this next legendary thing.
So you did like kind of get comfy in the opera in some way, but then you were like, okay,
Yeah.
enough is
We've
enough.
been there more than an hour and a half, like a significant amount of time. But like we didn't feel like the rest will be better than doing another legendary experience. So we're just like walking, standing up and getting in the middle, like getting like, you need to go walk on the row and like move everybody, it's it's
yeah,
not
it's
that
never
cool.
a nice
And eventually
experience,
we're like,
yeah.
okay, we're doing it. And we're like, got up and we started walking. I'm sorry. We're walking and we're like opening the doors, and we come out and we're like, okay, we did it. Good job. High fives. And then like the second we do the high fives, there's like recess and everybody comes
Everybody's
out.
coming
So we did it for nothing. just if we
You
could
just
hold
had
up
no
for a
idea
couple.
what was going on
Nothing.
anyways.
But we decided, okay, we're going. And then the next legendary experience was, I'm probably misspelling it, but it's the Sochi or Sanchi, whatever, thermal baths.
Ooh,
Okay?
nice.
Like Budapest is really, really famous with its thermal baths. There are like, it's like on some thingy there, and there's a lot of very deluxe, super cool thermal baths. And this one is by far the biggest, the best, the coolest, because it's like
Because
really.
you're on acid. When
No,
you're
no,
going
no,
there.
no. I checked it before. It was a fucking like palace, a real palace that is thermal baths. Okay, that was built a long, long time ago, and it's beautiful.
But
You
it's maintained and renovated.
yeah,
and
yeah, and
so-
it was epic, really, really epic experience.
Yeah, that's something I might do on acid.
Yeah,
Like I'd rather
yeah.
go to somewhere like chill where not many people are, more in nature. But I might consider. it
Yeah,
if
so
it's
here
nice enough.
there's a lot of people, but you're like sitting in a fucking pool or a bath and like switching and going to a hot
Yeah.
tub and the sauna and whatever you want. So it's like relatively easy compared to the other
Yeah, yeah,
stuff
for
that we
sure.
did.
Less intense, way more soothing, way more nice. And yeah, and you could just get into yourself and just like enjoy the sensations.
Exactly, and we did, and it
yeah.
was epic. Like at a certain point, there was like this.
Did you wash yourself
Yeah,
like before
yeah.
you went in? Because
Oh
you had
yeah,
all
yeah.
the mud
I
from
think
the.
we did. I think we did.
I
I
wonder,
don't
like,
remember.
I wonder if, like, in the opera, you still had like mud behind your ears
No,
and
no. I
stuff.
think like we washed a bit after we came out of the cave. You
But
know,
did
just
you have
to-
an actual like proper shower to use before
I don't
the
think
opera?
so. No, I don't think
You'd
so.
probably look like cavemen,
I
like
don't,
to the
yeah,
opera people.
I don't know. I don't remember. It's not important enough.
Yeah, that's
for me.
hilarious. Just to tell, just like all of a sudden
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
thinking
yeah.
about like you
I think-
changed,
I
like
think
whatever
we
you
tried-
had like mud all over you were like.
I think we tried to like make each other look okay for the opera.
Yeah, but I mean, what kind of judgment do you
Yeah,
have?
yeah. Anyway, so the baths were amazing. The best part there, according to what I remember, was like that there was like this small, beautiful like chamber with a bath in it, and Johnny started like doing this crazy overtones in it, and like at first like it's a chamber that people go through and there's a lot of traffic of people, but when he started doing it and like all of us are quiet and looking at him, so everybody got quiet. Okay, like there's like a lot of people that pass it, but all of them started like being quiet and stopping and just listening, you know, as if it's part of a show, because he did it so good, and like the echo in the chamber was
Nice.
like powerful.
Nice.
Okay.
So he's in the middle of this like very fancy, high class place, starting doing this kind
Palace.
of palace, this
I would say.
indigenous shamanic throat singing. I don't know if any one of you heard it. You should
Not
try it
throat
out.
singing, more like overtones.
Overtones, like no, like I don't know. It's hard to
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
like,
Check it out. It's quite trippy, but it has nothing to do with a fancy spa. But people stopped and listened, like it was
Yeah.
like
it was intense enough for us. It was really cool because like the vibration of the sound on the water, you can like put half ear inside the water. It's like it was fun.
found all the different ways to listen.
Yeah,
to
yeah,
it,
yeah. It's a very psychedelic experience of enjoying water
Yeah.
and sound.
Yeah, it's definitely quite trippy. Yeah,
Yeah.
overtone anything. Yeah.
Yeah, so like that experience I think like was the funnest, you know?
Yeah, it's funny. It was like the less part of less challenging yourself and less like experiencing some crazy cultural experience. It was
More
like kind of a bit
enjoying
more
it.
enjoying hedonistic in a way. But
Yeah.
but when you're tripping, like everything is very has so much detail and meaning and stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah, so it was amazing, like doing that, but we couldn't stay for that long because it was like a filler, and we had to go to the last experience because that we did reservations for, which is we went to for the first time in my life to Michelin star restaurant.
nice.
Okay, now the first thing that needs to come in mind is that like food isn't something you crave that much on psychedelics.
Yeah.
And we took like acid just like a couple, like 3 hours or something before that
Yeah.
in the in the opera. But after a full day of acid, without eating anything, so like your body, I guess it knows that it would like some substance, and even though like you're on acid. I was hoping that like we'll still be hungry and like
Yeah.
enjoy it and not just experience it. And I have to say that we totally did.
Right.
Okay,
nice,
now
nice.
I'm not like a real foodie or care that much about like food or going to very expensive restaurants, but this is one of the only times in my life that I really felt like a huge difference. I felt like every dish that we got, and we always like tasted from each other, it was like you're going through a story with the dish. Okay,
Nice.
you're starting with this one like taste, and it flows into other tastes, and it's obvious that somebody planned it.
Mhm.
You know, So it was
Beautiful.
like really
Yeah.
powerful and
Yeah,
fun.
it really helps you appreciate stuff that you normally don't notice.
Yes, but
So
here it's
also
also
like art forms you're not into, you like might all of a sudden like enjoy the opera and
Yeah.
enjoy like this chef inspired
and
meal.
here there was like it was playing with a sense that I never really like tried at Legendary Super Days, which is your taste.
Yeah.
Okay, and it really really made it work. You know, we super like most of us enjoyed the food and the experience. It was kind of weird with the like poshness of everything. You know, like we're one table and we're being served by so many people, so many like this one waiter that is just responsible for like pouring this like amazing drink for everybody. One waiter that is like responsible for that. You know, it
Weird.
was
Yeah, I don't like being served so much. Yeah,
yeah,
that
yeah,
sounds a
it's
bit
me
weird,
neither, and it was like you're also like not sure what to order. The two guys that stayed at the opera and loved it, they took even more acid inside the opera. So when they arrived to the restaurant, like one of them was like, "Help me, I can't read." like you know, I had to like, okay, you want this, you want that, and but eventually it was like a really really interesting and cool experience, and that was like the end of first Legendary Super Day abroad.
Nice, beautiful.
Yeah.
That's wow. So packed of action and
Yeah,
experience.
full day.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, wow. That was so adventurous, even just listening to it. So, like, fuck. Wow, I'm happy you survived that. And the crazy thing, I'm just gonna say one last thing before we move on to the next story, is the crazy thing is, dear viewers and viewees, is that Baruch does that kind of thing at least once a year.
More,
and some of them
usually.
and more and some of them are even way more crazy than this one, but
Yeah.
it's always very twisty. It's always some stuff that I cringe just from the idea of doing them high like that, and that's the stuff you actually choose to do.
Yeah, plan.
Yeah, and plan them
carefully
to
planned.
the little T and a schedule and all of that. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, for me, anything that makes me that I have to like wear my shirt now when I'm tripping is already like a bit like makes me a bit like uncomfortable.
And
Yeah,
here we had to wear like our fancy stuff,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
for the
crazy.
opera and the restaurant.
Nice, that's crazy. All right, thanks, Ahmed. That's amazing story. Yeah, we can move on to the next one.
Let's go.
Blue beer, the best beer in the southern hemisphere. But actually, we are in the northern hemisphere, so the best beer was Baruch's beer, which is
course.
very limited edition. So
Super limited.
So after a very, very eventful and exciting first story, we reach the second story, and I hope we have something a bit more relaxed here, or what do you have planned for us?
The answer is no.
Oh, fuck.
But it's gonna be like different because it's not as built, and I'll tell you only the first part of a much longer story. So, but it is the most interesting part, I think, and for the more experienced psychedelic crowd, it will be very interesting. Okay.
Okay.
So
Intriguing.
Yeah. So and the title of the story is the best day of my life.
Nice.
Okay, so it's already, you know, it should be good. The story I told you before is like not in the first 20. This is
Okay.
the best.
You have them mapped out? Your first
At least the
20
first
best
ones.
days?
No, at least the first ones, but I know this one is not the first 20. So this day also.
So first of all, I want to stop and just like make a little, point out the fact that for a person that does a lot of psychedelics, you're very organized and punctual and all of that.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, for the people that are, just like learning about psychedelics and have all this stigma and, you know, it's actually, yeah, it could go together. Like some people, psychedelics actually make them sharper in some ways and more productive. So
Yeah, yeah,
I
it,
just
it,
want
it
to
can help.
mention that
It's
for a moment.
possible to like
I'm
use
not
it
saying
for
like
good.
don't do a lot of psychedelics. Some people that do too much psychedelics, they lose it, and even if don't flip out, they become more erratic and yeah. But it could be that if you do your psychedelic use in a smart, plan, controlled manner, that you'd still like keep it all together.
And more than that, it can like really make you evolve and learn things about yourself and get better.
Yeah.
It did so for me in many occasions. Okay, so the best day of my life. So as we understood by the theme of today, it was my birthday. Okay, but
Birthday episode.
yeah, but it wasn't a legendary Super Day birthday.
How come?
Because it was COVID. Okay?
All right.
And COVID really fucked up
Yeah.
any plans that
It was very hard to find legendary stuff to do.
Yes, it was very hard to meet even, you know?
Yeah.
And not even talking about organizing a legendary Super Day abroad. Okay?
Yes.
So like the year
Maybe would have done like cross the border illegally, as part of the
so I
legendary
like
Super Day.
I was like organized a legendary Super Day in Amsterdam. Okay, and like we got already everything bought, like the tickets, the hotel, the helicopters that we were gonna rent there. Okay,
Right.
we already
You
paid
all
for
of it.
everything,
So the
and then
legendary Super Day is for very experienced psychonauts and also for people that can afford it. As well.
not necessarily. There are activities that don't require any money.
You could, you
but-
could find,
but,
but yeah,
but
if you
it's-
really want to keep it legendary,
I
yeah.
guess some of them, yeah. And it was like all these plans like was ruined, destroyed by COVID. Okay, like everything, the money,
Yeah.
everything. It was horrible.
Horrible.
I was like really like
Yeah.
like hurt by it.
Yeah, COVID
Pissed off.
COVID had a heavy price on
Yeah,
all of us.
so
Yes,
so like that was the year before. So in this year, I didn't even like bother trying to plan something. It was still like full on COVID. I had this amazing girlfriend back then that I really loved, and like she said, "Hey, so like, how about I'll organize you a birthday, like just something that we can do." So I was like even more like fine with letting go. I'd say, "Okay, we just like spend a day with my girlfriend, and it will be fun. She'll organize it, whatever she wants, we can do.
Nice.
I'll be
Yeah.
fine with that." I was totally like let go, and everything was like chill, fine. And then my birthday came, and it was like a Friday, so like it wasn't a work day. And I wake up with her.
In Israel, we have Fridays off. Usually, most of us, the lucky ones.
Yeah, so it wasn't a
When
work
we work
day.
on Sunday, it's horrible. It's horrible.
Yeah.
I have to complain. We're Jewish.
And like I'm waking up, like with her, and like taking a shower, and like sitting in the living room, getting dressed for whatever she planned for us to do. And like she like meets me, and she gives me a bag with like a bag with my logo on it,
Nice.
which is cool,
the
right?
logo of the beer or another
It's
one?
it's a similar logo to what the beer, the like Axe with BLSD on it, like, so it was, wow, you made it like a bag with my logo on it, fun. And then like she explained to me that in this like bag. There's everything you're going to need for this day, okay? And there's like, I think it was seven.
So you so you date usually like psychopaths just like yourself,
I don't know.
or
That
she
was
was like she was
that was
like
like
she was up there with
a
you.
high level for her, even
Okay,
like
but she
I
learned.
did
She
not
learned some.
expect it at all. And she said like there's like seven, I think, envelopes that you can open only when you're being told to, okay? But now you can open the first one. And I opened the first one, and I don't remember exactly what it said, but it said something like that you need to go to like this part of the city where there's a lot of like fabric shops, and you need to buy a certain size of the fabric you like most. Okay, something like that. It was like riddled.
So you're like, all right, take acid,
Yeah.
go to
No, no, I
Florentin.
didn't. I didn't
You
take
didn't
acid.
yet,
I didn't.
okay,
I
no.
didn't plan to take anything.
Yeah,
Just weed.
just wait. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, I didn't plan on doing acid at all. And and
So what are we
like
doing here? What's going
we'll
on?
get to it. We'll get to
Okay,
it.
okay, okay.
And yeah, there aren't any like psychedelics yet here, right?
Right, right. It's just a fun, yeah, loving birthday
Yeah, yeah,
experience.
totally like whatever she planned. And then like she tells me, but listen, but you have to hurry because we're on a schedule, like as if it's a legendary super day. So
And you're like, all right, boom. I know how this works.
yeah, but I was still like sort of chill. I didn't get into that mood at all.
Get into this like field trip mood.
Yeah,
Field
yeah.
trip?
I was
What's
just like
going on?
happy
Okay,
that I
let's
have
do
like this bag and we're gonna like do something the two of us together. And then she tells me, but you need to hurry now, like go now.
And you're
And
like,
I'm
I
like,
like it even better.
and I'm like, wait, what? But you're not coming with me? And she's like, no, go now. And that here there was like a really like misunderstanding on my part because I was like, what do you mean? I'm going alone? Like what's going on? And then I'm like, okay, and I started going, and it's like a drive, you know? It's like 10 15 minutes scooter drive, okay? So
Right.
I need to find a way to get there. And I'm like, okay, I'm like start going, and then when I go down from my building and I go out to the street, I meet a friend of mine, okay? A legendary super dude. He was also like back there in Budapest.
Which is an official title. Legend.
Yes.
By the way, legendary super dude.
And for women it's legendary super dame.
Damn, yeah, and
Yeah.
you need to earn it. It's not
Yeah,
like just
only
anyone.
if you
yeah.
come to participate in a legendary super day.
Right. I don't have it, for example.
yeah.
I don't think I'll ever will. Yeah. Maybe.
Most
who
people
knows?
don't.
Yeah.
There's only a few.
Maybe. We'll talk. Yeah.
Yeah,
we'll see.
maybe. And then he's like, okay, you know where you need to go, and I'm like, I'm happy to see him. Oh wow, awesome! You guys did something together, nice. And like, yeah, I figured out the riddle. I need to go there. And he's like, okay, let's go. And then like we're going there. And we arrived, and then I start searching for like this fabric, my favorite a fabric I want to buy. And I'm like pretty much alone with this friend in all these shops. And I'm looking at the fabrics, and I'm like, oh, I don't know, I like this one. This is like a really cool colored one. I don't know, I like this one. And then we're going to a different shop, and I'm looking, and it's like huge fabric shops. And eventually I found one that like caught my eye, that was like black and white triangles, and it seemed kind of trippy to me. I told myself like, on acid it will look really cool. So I
Right.
think that's my
I
favorite,
like
like
that. Okay.
that's my favorite fabric. And I bought it, and like we like paid for it and everything, and then we come out of the shop, and again it was like probably some time since I went into the light. I was in the shop for a while, and all of a sudden like everything seems different, you know, seems a bit trippy, the outside of the world. And I'm like, you know,
Yeah, fabric shops would do that. Yeah.
I guess so. I was like, I was looking at fabrics that much. What made it happen. And I'm like trying to let my eyes adjust. And we're walking with this friend, and I'm telling him, "Whoa, dude, it feels trippy. And his reaction was, okay, which is suspicion. Well, it's suspicious to me. Like, I wouldn't react like this if somebody would tell me it feels trippy. And then I'm like looking at him and I'm saying, I'm tripping. And he's like, I don't know, maybe. And I'm like, on what? And then, or did he maybe ask me on what? And then I'm like, acid. It has to be acid. And he's like, okay. And then I'm like, she dosed me. Okay. And
How did she do it?
what actually happened is that for a couple of months before my birthday.
Again, never ever dose someone without them
Yes.
knowing. Yeah.
And a couple of months before my birthday, she started like telling me that I need to take like a vitamin C. Okay, I don't remember even like the excuse she said.
And she would give it to you every day?
So when she was sleeping with me, yes, and when she wasn't, so she was like calling and, hey, did you take the vitamin C?
Oh my
I-
God,
I know,
that's so psycho.
Yeah,
That's
it was
crazy.
pretty, and like I remember like sort of objecting it, and at some point I was like saying, no, I don't want to, and she's like, what do I need to do to make you take it? And I said like, blow me, and she did, and it worked. Okay, and in the day of the birthday, when I
That's so
woke up,
crazy.
I like before I even like really woke up, she like put it in my mouth, made me drink it, and I didn't think
By
about
that
it for
time, you're
one
like,
second.
okay, yeah, blowjob, whatever. Yeah.
Even without it, just like okay, I
You were already
got
conditioned
got
by
used
then.
to it. Yeah,
yeah. This is a fucking KGB method, man.
yeah, it
It's
worked.
fucked
It
up.
worked easy.
It's fucked up. I'm
Yeah.
happy you're not together with her anymore.
No,
No,
that was one of her best
Attributes.
best attributes. Yeah. So she dosed me, and the thing is that it's years that I like that I really wanted this to happen.
Yeah, she knew you wanted to get those
Yeah,
at some
my
point.
friends
and
knew
that
that-
was like the perfect time.
Yeah, my friends knew that that I want to, but I kept like when
You know what? It's a bit like rape fantasy.
Sort of.
I mean, like
rape-based
like,
psychedelics.
yeah.
You know?
yeah. No, that's crazy because rape is the worst thing that could happen to anyone, and for sure. But then like some people wanna like have a
Fantasize about
scenario
it.
like a role play like they are
Yeah.
being raped, and
Yeah.
that's crazy. Like Louis C.K. has a bit that he's like that someone tells him about her rape fantasy. They're like, are you crazy? Do you think I'm gonna fucking tie you and throw you in the trunk? Like, just so you can get off? Like, I'm not taking that risk.
But it sounds fun.
I mean, not for me, but if you're into it, I'm not judging you. It's all
I
good.
won't say no. Let's say it like that.
So yeah, it's
But,
a psychedelic rape fantasy,
Yeah.
basically.
And like I talked about it with friends. I was saying like it's kind of impossible.
I wonder if I'll ever get those.
No, but I was saying things like it's really hard to organize because like I can't organize it for myself. And here it was exactly what I like dreamed of, trying to like feel and understand that I'm on psychedelics without taking it. Okay, to see when will I understand, how long will it take me, what is the first thing that I'm gonna notice.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like that's something that I think experienced psychedelic psychonauts would love to experience.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just don't fucking do it, and if you do it carefully. Like,
Yeah, do it only to somebody that like
it's the thing.
said
like,
he
there's
wants
some people
to.
that, yeah, and there's some people that would like to do it, and they don't necessarily do it in the right time or the right way, and blah blah blah. Is like, yeah, know who to ask it from, and don't
Yeah.
just don't fucking do it. Like,
One of the reasons
he's a pro. Like, don't try it at home.
one of the reasons that like my friend also like was okay with me like figuring it out because we just got on a scooter. Okay, so like it's a scooter that we're gonna drive like as fast as we can to the next destination, and like I think I was driving it or I was holding him. I don't even remember, but in any case, he felt like maybe I should like be aware that I'm tripping when I'm getting on a scooter on high speed.
So he admitted it.
He admitted it. He said, "Okay, so you might as well know. let's go.
You better know at this point, yeah.
Let's go. And when we were driving on the scooter, I was crying out of happiness.
You're like, I finally got those.
It's not, it's just like about the whole, oh my God, this is going to be a crazy day. Like realizing how awesome it is and how awesome like what was organized here and that how she planned it and everything
Yeah.
and like gratefulness and everything
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I guess that's very thoughtful.
yeah, and like I won't get into that's like the story.
Take your vitamins.
I take my vitamins. What did I say? So that's like just the beginning of that day. I became like a package that goes between different friends, and each friend like organized a crazy experience with him that I'm
Nice.
doing when I'm tripping, and the friend isn't, but it's like a legendary super day for me. For example, the thing that
Beautiful.
we did with the fabric that we bought, the next station was that like I'm in front of a sewing machine and I'm sewing myself a dress, like something that I'm going to wear for the rest of the day from the cloth that from the like fabric that I bought. And
Yeah,
I've
just,
never
yeah.
used
A sewing
a sewing
machine,
machine
you see.
before, but I'm being told what to do.
Yeah, crazy. So this is a bit like if you want to stand on the sofa and show the tattoo on your thigh. I'm just gonna make a little reference.
This will be good, better scene
Try to put the tattoos again where your head was.
where my head was.
Or, yes, I think that.
Makes them look smaller.
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna focus on them. So the reason I asked Baruch to show his tattoos is because he also did them while he was tripping on a super day without having any experience with tattooing.
I
And
did
they
one
kind
of
of look
them.
not so bad.
Yeah, I did one of them, the DIY. It
Yeah.
looks less good than the second one. The second
Yeah.
one was made on a legendary super day by my friends.
Yeah.
When they're tripping, I was tripping too, but they were
Yeah.
the one doing the tattoo, and it says TYF, which means trust your friends.
Yeah, beautiful. So yeah, I like it. Like we're not gonna get into that story.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the idea of like do it your own basically, and that you try in different ways with these experiences.
Yeah, it's like part of my belief is that like everything is possible on
Yeah.
acid. It might be a bit harder, but
Yeah.
but it is possible, and part of the fun in Legendary Super Days is proving it.
Yeah, nice. All right, so the full story, you have it recorded somehow,
No,
documented
so
somehow.
I do have like YouTube channel called BLSD Stories.
Right. So
Uh,
subscribe to that. We're gonna link it down in the description.
Hey, awesome.
Or we'll figure it out. We'll
Yeah,
link it
but
somehow.
but this specific story is so long that I'm like intimidated just like starting to try to
Right.
like tell it properly.
So we might like work together on creating an interesting, fun format for that story.
That'd
We'll
be
figure
nice.
it out. I'm going away, but we could still like work from distance, or maybe you'll come to Thailand. Who knows?
Maybe.
I hope so. Yeah. So maybe we'll keep it as to be done a future project, either on his channel or on Triptease or some
Yeah.
joint effort.
Sounds awesome.
And I think we're gonna. It's like I think we should have met for like 2-3 sessions basically.
For this story alone.
In general, because your stories are like so full of detail and long and all of that, and it's just too much for one episode. But I'd love to hear like the people like that are watching, listening, if they think it's too long or not. But yeah, so we'll just move on to the third story.
Okie dokie. Let's go.
And hopefully soon enough we're gonna have another like fun episode or some other fun format of the legendary stories.
Yay. So third story, it's just like really fun story and another like different, unique birthday experience. And it happened during the birthday I had on during my travels in Southeast Asia. Okay, so towards the day of my birthday, I was getting near to the border of Laos and Thailand, and and on the border between those countries, there are like there is like an experience that is very cool and unique that is called the Gibbon experience. Have you heard about it?
The Gibbon experience? I'm not sure.
It's a special place, an experience that that basically you're hiking for 2 or 3 days in the jungle when your main way of transportation is ziplining.
Okay,
Okay,
nice.
it's like a route
Fun.
of huge, like long and fun zip lines that are scattered throughout the jungle. Okay, and like it allows you to know to like see the jungle from a different point of view, and like the idea of the experience is also to like be in the height of the gibbons, which is like a super amazing ape that is like can flow through the trees, but like I didn't see any. I did hear some.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't see any. I don't think it's like something that is that common to see them. Uh, Probably on like a route of zip lines that
Yeah,
somebody
yeah, I guess
organized.
some of yeah, maybe they.
But it is the real like hardcore jungle, and it's amazing to trip in the jungle. And one of the best parts of the experience is that you get to sleep in the biggest treehouse in the world.
Wow,
Okay,
nice.
so just experiencing that is already like worth it for me. So even though it was like kind of expensive for me after like a long time of traveling, I said, okay, fuck it, it's my birthday, let's go
Hmm.
as Gibbon experience. Okay, and so like I decided to take the 2 day trip, and then I needed to like think when should I take the acid, and I decided I'll do it on the first day because it will be awesome to like get into the biggest treehouse in the world on acid. Like I want it. Okay, so we started the real like hike and everything after getting set up and everything at like 10 a.m. something like that I think, and it's important to understand that number for future reference. And so I took the acid sometime at about that time, and then we're starting to like go into the jungle, getting the safety like drills and explanations and so on. And then I'm starting to feel the acid, and I'm tripping in the jungle, which is like a really amazing like setup for tripping. It's everything. It's the colors, the sounds, the smells, the animals, like the game of like light and shadow in the jungle. It's like really amazing place to trip. So you're doing that and the zip lines, which are like really fun. Here, the main difference between doing it on acid and doing it without acid is that like all the like safety of like you at the beginning the guides strap you on, but after like a couple of times you start doing it yourself. So just like strapping yourself on the line and like making sure your harness is okay. So on acid you like double check it like 3 or 4 times just to make sure, you know what I mean. So that's like a funny difference. And like when you're on the zip line and you're like so high above the river or above the cliff or above the jungle, it's like really awesome bird's eye view, that is awesome on acid, especially like all the treetops and how they move. It was really fun. And another big like difference that when you're ziplining a really long like zip line, so you're catching up speed, and then like at a certain point you should like start like slowing down. And the way you judge that point is by like seeing the distance from the point where the zip line ends, and like the perception of like distance in with acid is a bit different. Okay,
Yeah,
so
for sure. It's
so
more dynamic.
yes, and eventually after like a fun day outside in the jungle, we arrived to the biggest treehouse in the world. Okay, and the only way to get to it is by ziplining because it's like really big and tall. So you zipline into the
Wow.
biggest treehouse in the world, and it's huge. It was like 4 stores. There's like tons of places to sleep. There's a living room, like super. There's a kitchen.
Wow.
The kitchen actually was downstairs because the kitchen can attract, like insects and so on. So they don't take the kitchen upstairs. It's downstairs, and like the guides know how to get downstairs. We didn't get to go there. We were just up on the tree house, and like we set up like the place where we're gonna sleep, and we had this like awesome meal, and then the guides that are like were really cool two guides. They like brought out like a bottle of whiskey, I think it was, and then we're like starting to drink, and it's really fun, and they get a bit tipsy, and everything is like funnier, awesome. But then for the full day, we all carried just like a really small backpack, just for of like things we need for one night,
Yeah.
because you're hiking and ziplining the whole day. But I was the only one that also brought another full bottle of whiskey because it's like my birthday, so we should like drink some more. So I carried it with me all day. It was like the almost the only thing in my backpack, a big bottle of whiskey, and I took it out after we finished the first one, and then like the guys were like, "Whoa, whoa, maybe that's too much." And I'm like, "No, it's my birthday. We have to finish it. Come on, let's do it." And like I'm good at like making things do substances, so we ended up finishing the bottle, and everybody were already a bit more drunk than before. Okay. And then everybody are like started to go to sleep, but I really, really find it hard to fall asleep after acid. So I had with me some Valium because I knew that will help me fall asleep, and that was my plan. Okay, and I did it. I took the Valium and fell asleep. Everything is good until in the middle of the night, I get woken up like this by one of the guides, like this,
Like
okay?
shaking you.
Yeah, like wake up, and I'm like waking up, and I'm like, like shocked at what's going on. And
The
he's
tree
like,
is falling.
no, even better. He's like, wake up, we gotta go. We gotta go. Get your stuff. Let's go. And I'm like, super disoriented, maybe still under some of the acid like effect, after effect, definitely on the Valium effect. Okay, and on the like alcohol effect.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Nice mashup
I'm
there.
trying to like figure out what's going on, and apparently that morning at 10 a.m. before we started, the guide said something that I like totally disregarded and forgot about, and he said that there is a chance, sometimes it happens, that like a huge storm comes up in the middle of the night, and if it happens, we have to evacuate the treehouse because it's really, really dangerous to stay there because it can like probably get hit by lightning because it's so like high above everything.
Fuck.
And like just if it's like strong wind, it's also dangerous to be there. Okay, and that's what was going on. Okay, and like I'm like barely waking up, and there was like panic. People are like running and like suiting up and gearing up, and I'm like at the beginning, it took me like a couple of minutes to like understand what's going on, but then I was kind of like liking it. Okay, and I was going into it. I'm like, yeah, panic. And I was like, okay, let's get this this fire up, and like I started like, feeding feeding the panic. I'm like, okay, we're all gonna die, like stressing people up. And like one of the guides loved it. The other one, the main one, didn't like it at all. Okay, but I was like so into it, like gearing up and like shouting.
Like in an action movie.
Yeah, totally. I was like shouting to one of the like mothers there. I was like something like leave the kids, we can make more after, like and everybody
might be a bit distasteful,
but some people were laughing, I think, like most I guess, and it was like crazy. The wind was making the rain like come at you like 45 degrees, and it's like super intense storm, lightning all the time, crazy like sound effects of the storm.
Wow.
And then like you're gearing up, and then the only way to get out is by zip line, and you're like putting your zip line on the like line in the middle of the night, and you just zip line out into pure darkness. Okay, you just see a wall of water and pure darkness, and that's how you zip line out. Okay, super like cool, amazing experience. And then we zip lined out. We went down. We got down all the way to the kitchen, and we spent the night there because we had to. So like in retrospective, it was awesome. It was just like this experience of like waking up into mayhem.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and just like tripping in the jungle. It's something I really advise warmly. Yeah.
Trip on your own, responsibility.
Yeah, in the jungle.
Yeah, but yeah, jungle can be nice. Wow. Whew. So survival in the jungle on acid and Valium.
Yeah, another good birthday memory.
Yeah, nice. So yeah, we got to the end of the line of the birthday crazy acid experiences.
There's many more.
But yeah, for this time, for this one meeting, yeah, we're gonna hear more in the future for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks a lot, man. It's been like intense, but in a really fun way.
Yeah, I'm happy. It was my pleasure. It's also stories that I'm not telling that much, and I haven't recorded them on my channel yet.
Right.
So it was nice to like do it for the first time.
Nice, in a nice setting. And
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Yeah, it's been fun, man. Thanks a lot. Wow, your stories are just like very action packed and like they just speak for themselves. There's not much to integrate. You like do all the planning in advance, It's like already
you know the experience that you want.
Yeah,
and you're trying to get it.
Beautiful. Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah,
it's been a pleasure. It's been a ride.
Yeah,
fucking
awesome.
yeah. Rock on. We'll see you soon.
Bye.